And away we go. Hello, crafters. Let me get my glasses on so I can see what in the hell I'm doing. But as most of you know, I'm Big D. I'm your host here on this weekly special Tuesday edition of Taco Tuesday. If you're in the future and you're seeing this in the archive, today's date is 2/22/22 or 2/22/2022. So it's a lot of twos. A lot of twos. Where's Lady D? She's dead. She's dead. We ate her. So hello everyone out there in internet land. Stuff going on in the world of Warhammer. Stuff going on in the world of competitive play. Stuff going on in the land, Big D. So let's get to it. What's on the bench? Sisters of Battle and Terrain for Commodore. I'm trying to finish them up this week and next week so I can get that all done and out of my way. Because I am printing a bunch of stuff and trying to prep for the Warpstone series of tournaments. We had the first one this past weekend. We'll talk about that in a little bit. A little recap on some tournament action there. Some things I have learned from playing my Tau. We're going to talk about what's coming up in the world of Warhammer right now. Specifically, the shut up. Specifically, the land of the Eldar, and they are finally getting their 9th edition release. Warpstorm. What did I say? I said Warpstorm. Did I not say Warpstorm? Well, it's Warpstorm. If you go out to Best Coast pairing, you'll find the Warpstone. Oh, I said Warpstone. That's what it is. Okay, you'll find the Warpstorm RTT series in both February and the upcoming one in March. I said Warpstone because that's a thing. That's an honest to goodness thing. Okay, so first, before we go any further, I want to give a big shout out to the Commodore. They gave me my lovely Tau Greater Good seal. I got to find some decent text to do in Tau lettering and get that put in there. My goodness, my brother Al bringing in a Spectre gunship. Oh yeah, Puff. Puff is online. Time to clear an LC. Hello, big bro. Love to see it, buddy. Love to see you, brother. So what do we got going on? All right, let's talk about on the bench. Well, I painted 2,000 points of Tau, including some Tau terrain for the tournament in about 2 weeks. Some of it doesn't have a lot of depth, but that was kind of what I was going for. I kind of want to go with this very cartoony, very bright, and unintentionally a very Buzz Lightyear look for my Tau. Superfly, my man. Good to see you, buddy. So I got my Tau painted up. And that was a lot of fun. It's a good army, a lot of fun to be had playing that army. The new rules are, I mean, who doesn't love big shooty mecha Japanese robot fun shooty goodness? I mean, they are the epitome of sci-fi fun. Um, I mean, I love my Marines. Don't get me wrong. I love my Marines. I love my Space Wolves. But gosh, playing the Tau was such a different experience for me. I mean, I'm so used to playing this grind it up, get in your face, bang, bang, get in there and get it done type army list. And Tau are not that list. Tau are all about, we're going to stay back here and we're going to shoot you off the board and we're going to force you to move us. And yeah, there are people on the other end of those shots and they felt it, let me tell you. So yeah, let's talk about Warp Storm. Okay, so Warp Storm is a series of RTTs, Rogue Trader Tournaments, for those of you that are not completely familiar with all the tournament terminology. So basically, it's a tournament in a smaller sense. It's usually, I think we're going for 20 players for each tournament, just capping it at 20 to have a GT, a grand tournament, which is 36 players or more at the end of the year. And the reason the Warp Storm is considered it's part of an invitational series. So basically, if you win one of the 10 Warp Storm tournaments across a year that are being held between two stores, half are being held at Factlandia and the other half are being at Hobby Nights in West Bend. If you win one of them, you have an automatic seat in the GT at the end of the year. And then there's going to be some other rules. I'm not fully into understanding what all the rules are because I'm just there to help get terrain made and help make sure things are balanced and fair as a neutral party. And then when the game starts, get in there. Don't worry about that. I'm in here to shoot some people. So this is, I want to give Kirschbaum, if Mr. Kirschbaum is in here. Hello, Tina Raven. I just noticed you were in there. I want to give Mr. Kirschbaum a big, round of applause. The man did an amazing job. He is the lead on making this tournament series run. I mean, he is the man. And there's other people helping, but I mean, he's not a store owner. He's just a guy that wants to see tournament play and go well and smooth and fun. And the big thing is we emphasize the fun. Yes, there's tournament. Yeah, there's prizes, all that. But let's just get some dice going and play and have fun with everybody else. So they're just 3 rounds, just under 3 hours per round for match. So it's a full 1-day event. I mean, check-in is usually about 9:30, and we get out of there probably about the same time in the PM. I mean, my legs were jelly the next day. So 3 games, which isn't a huge commitment, but it's good. It's not a super tournament, like a five round all weekend thing. And it's mainly about just having fun. So, I've been playing my Space Wolves for basically the last year solid. I took a break and played some Custodies in the middle there for a couple tournaments. For one tournament. And I love the Custodies, but I don't think they're my play style. So they're fun to have for casual games. But when there's actually you got to be on point, not my thing. So I like them. I like them a lot. Maybe I'll try them again with the new rules. I almost did. I was looking at the rules and I realized I didn't have any of the figures I'd want to play with the new rule set. So I went with the Tau. And we get to the Tau. Now, the first thing I did was I built a 2,000 point list that had nothing meta in it. And I say that because I didn't look at any top tier lists. I didn't look at any meta lists. I literally didn't look at any list building that other people had played or had put together. I sat down with Kirschbaum and Max and a couple other people and talked to a couple people, got their opinions on what they thought of specific units. And I looked at what I had built and went, blah, and this is my list. And It was not optimized, not meta, not anything, and it still did pretty good. I got 3 practice games in before the actual tournament, so I didn't walk in completely ignorant to how to play the army. And the 2 full games I played, I did really, really, really good in. The 1 partial game, we only played the first round because we were just trying to learn the rules of the new codex. And yeah, so we played 1 round, and oh, the rumors are true. Tau can just rip stuff off the table. My goodness, they are yikes. Shooty army. So the tournament had 20 people. I came in 8th place. I went 2-1. I lost my first round match against Custodes, which also just recently got a new book. And the Custodes boys in gold are a tough match. Man, they are rough. They can take a hell of a lot of punishment, and they have a lot of lockdowns. Like, they can just go, yeah, only these numbers affect this. They can go, you don't get to re-roll. You just get base rolls. Blah. There's a lot of things they can do to just kind of shut you down, because that's what their army's all about. They're high-end elite figures that keep people from being able to access all their best stuff and try to beat stick you off the table. And they are tough to deal with. I think the bikes. I think that the bikes with the salvo launcher, the flying jet bikes, Dawn Eagle. Oh, I was going to get to that. Yeah, I was going to get to that. I was going to say, bikes. The Dawn Eagle jet bikes with the salvo launchers are no joke. They're probably the MVP easily of that army. Such a powerful, mobile, destructive unit. They're a little flying mini tanks, and they are just unstoppable. And yeah, the guy played against John, who came in 3rd place. And he was one of 3 people that came in 3-0. They won all 3 of their games. It came down to a points difference of how badly he beat the people he played against. And John, he comes from a gaming team that's out of Madison, and if he's not a pro player, he's definitely a upper mid-tier GT player. And it was really good because after he whooped the crap out of me, we still had a bunch of time left. And he sat down and we talked about stuff. We went back, we took some figures, put them on the table, and he was talking about things I could have done differently, but may have not mattered, things that he did, why he did things the way he did, some good choices I made, some bad choices I made. He was really awesome about giving me feedback. And I take that to heart because I think, honestly, first off, I'm brand new with the army. I'm absolutely brand new with the army. So being able to get good, solid feedback and a good critique from a good player was wonderful to get. I want to give John all the props in the world. He was just really, really great. I mean, he absolutely crushed me. He was in the mid 80s, I think, and I was like 25 or 26 points. I mean, he just absolutely smashed me. Those bikes just did so much work, and then when he charged in, just wrecked my day with them. So, but for him to take time after the game and just sit down and talk with me about it and give me a little bit of feedback from an experienced player was a really amazing situation. I just all love in the world to him. and the rest of his team, because I talked with the other members of his team because they kind of sat amongst each other and kind of gave each other an after action report. And they were perfectly happy to let other people sit in and talk with them about what was going on and what they were doing. So his whole team, I remember they had two team names because I guess they've changed team names. So they were Tundra Tactics, and I forget the other one. I think it's Cambridge something or other. Just a real classy bunch of guys. And wouldn't you know, they came in 1, 2, and 3. So, good players, great players, and just really good people. It was good to play against. And it was good to play against somebody different than the regular locals in the area. Not that I mind playing the people that are here, but it's always good seeing new faces across the table because you're going to get somebody else's perspective and maybe a new perspective on how to play an army or play a unit. So that's really one of the big reasons I like the tournament play, is that you get to play people you maybe don't play very often, or somebody's going to try out a new army that they haven't played yet. And hey, my buddy G, what's going on? So yeah, I mean, it was really great to get that kind of feedback from him and his team. Speaking of feedback, if you find me entertaining, you wouldn't mind, hit that like button up in the corner, or you might be yours in the bottom, just to let people know that I'm doing some entertainment here and letting you know that I'm getting put out some good information. So if you don't mind, if you find me useful, find me entertaining, I'd appreciate it. Anyhow, so we got into the second round, and I played against a Death Watch list. Now, Space Marines are not in a great place right now, but Death Watch are probably one of the better ones right now because they've got so many tools in their toolbox, specifically dealing with Xenos. And since I'm running around with a bunch of blue skin fish goat dudes, yeah, they had abilities. So, and I got to give my opponent Spencer, I got to give him some credit there. He knew what Tau could do. He had played a testing game the night before. And so one of the things he did was he played really super conservatively. Like, he moved up, stayed in cover, didn't try to overextend, didn't try to overreach, just kind of seemed to move forward. Iron Hands are good, and we're going to talk about that. Actually, I want to kind of talk about the whole tournament thing afterwards, because Iron Hands are they're one of the three ones that are one of the four Marine armies that are being played right now. So, yeah. Shockingly, there weren't any at the tournament. I was surprised by that. We have a couple Iron Hands players in our local meta, and none of them signed up for the tournament. So it was interesting to see. So yeah, I played against Death Watch in the second round, and I beat him pretty deeply. And the thing about the Tau, again, it's always about learning. It's always about learning. And the thing that I figured out with them is that if you don't overextend, you basically snap shut on people. Like, your first 3 rounds, you set that game. A lot of Tau lists win or lose on how the first round goes, because if you open up poorly, a Tau will rip you to pieces. They will absolutely rip you to pieces. And if you play conservatively and you play touch and very come in, come out, score, get out, you're going to do better. Spencer scored 60 some odd points against me. And I was like 92 or 93 out of 100. So, I did really well. And it was turn 3 when basically I had removed most of his army off the board. He's like, okay, you got me. So, that's just the way it was. And that's what Tau do. They just take away your options. And then in the third round, I had the match I thought was going to be a terrible, terrible match for me. And unfortunately, it ended up being a great match for me because the person that was playing the Tau, and I do not remember his name. I got to think, what is his name? I do not remember his name, but he was he was a good guy, really great guy, beautiful paint job. had this dirty yellow ochre. It was just really, really nice. Like a rich kind of a mustardy yellow, not really like a full orangey ochre. It was a really nice color with red markings and whatnot on it. It was somebody dubbed it Pikachu, and it was really pretty fitting. It was a really great looking army. But he came in playing Tau against me, and I'm like, and he's playing Borkan like I am. We'll talk about the differences if you're not familiar. And Griffith, that's right, Griffith, that's his name. And Griffith came in and he won initiative, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to go good. And apparently, I did a much better job tucking my army and hiding my army and stealthing my army and putting everything out of sight that he wasn't able to really kill very much. And unfortunately, I think he overextended as he came out. As with a 2,000 point list, he took away maybe 100 points on the first round of my guys. And then I turned around and opened up back on him, and I opened up and went full aggressive on him. On my man Mythos. Gonna give you some PTSD tonight, buddy. But luckily, in your favor, it was Tau on Tau violence. Because when I went after Griffith opened, I went second, and I shot of his 2,000 points. I took off 2/3 of his army. I shot off around 1,300 points of his army. I did the numbers later. Yeah, it really does come down to deployment, and that's one of the things that have become very, very apparent. Like I said, there was a lot I learned, and that's probably when we talk about, because this tournament also had something very new for me that I thought was very cool. Kirsch, Mom, you came in just in time for me to talk about killing Tau. Kirsch, I'm going to say it again now that he's in here. Again, I want to give big props to Mr. Kirschbaum, my man, the bomb. The man TO'd and organized, with the help of the Commodore, this great RTT. It was really, and he's doing this whole series, and he's an amazing dude, and we're going to give him some chances to play. Some of us are going to take over, so that he can get some games in with his Farstrike or Farsight enclaves. But yeah, I mean, Kirsch gets all the credit. I am doing amazing, Mythos. And yeah, it was, like I said, it was Tau on Tau violence. My first turn, he went, and then I responded. And just for those of you that understand Tau and know what the big bugaboos are, I'm not running any hammerheads, and I'm not running a storm surge. I killed both of his hammerheads and his storm surge by, would have been my round 2. We got through round 1, and there was so much damage. I had already killed one tank. I had almost completely killed his other tank. I had killed a Riptide. He had no drones left on the table. Is that what Max is playing? I'm scared now. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, he had an ethereal, a commander, a damaged, almost dead tank, a storm surge, and 2 squads of breachers left, and that's it. I mean, everything else of power he had was off. Oh, Mythos, you would even approve of how I killed his Riptide. I had a set of bodyguards that ran up with my Enforcer commander, and he, after they unloaded into this thing and it just wasn't dead, I decided, well, we got to do it the right way. And my Enforcer commander charged his Riptide and punched it to death. Nothing more satisfying than punching a Riptide to death. So, and here's the thing. There was a really great tournament, not just from the fact that I did really well, but the fact that, I mean, this is a tournament that really had some depth to the field of players. There were 2 Custodes players, 2 Thousand Sons players, a Gene Stealer cults, a Gene Stealer cult. The Gene Stealer cult army had Tyranids with it as well. There was a straight Tyranid Crusher Stampede army. I want to say there was like 9 or so Marine lists there. There were a lot of different Marine lists. There were the 2 Tau lists that were there. I'm trying to do this from memory. There was a there was a guy they were playing Death Guard. He won the best presentation army. His army is really great. I mean, you guys know I love Death Guard. I had to give him the props. I had to give him my vote for those Death Guard because he's really got this really great sickly green plasma glow coming out of all of his army. Just an amazing. I mean, that's very true, Commodore. I mean, I'm a wolf. If I can punch something, I'm going to punch it. I'm very tempted to build a commander with an Onager Gauntlet and give him like a spear or a an anime looking like a Voltron blazing sword or something, just to kind of fit it in there. I'm very tempted to print something up like that to put it on a guy, just because it looks so cool. I mean, they just look like. I can even show you. Now that I've got them done, I can show you a few of my MVPs. First off, this is Commander Falling Star. Double burst cannons and lots of shooting, little missile rack up there right by the head. Got your shield generator and the super jetpack. This thing did work. Did a lot of good work for me. And then their fellow commander with the blazing sword, effectively, which now I'm going to think I'm going to have to remodel this one with a blazing sword. This is my enforcer commander with the super flamer and a Onager Gauntlet and a fusion blaster. Just reached in and just meleeed the crap out of stuff. He actually did punch a bike to death, Custodes bike to death, which was pretty cool. Before he got his ass handed to him, but he did some work. He did some work. But these were my 2 leaders. They were very cool. I really love. I gotta say honestly, I think of all my figures that I've painted with this list, I gotta say I just really love his paint scheme. Or actually, to be honest, the commander in this one is a her. So I really love her paint scheme. I really love that green and that purple on the gray. There's something about this, and there's just enough extra wings and bobs and whatnot just to make this thing look really, really tight. And I got to give AK Interactive some real credit. I love their basing materials. I mean, that basing just looks amazing. The 2 rocks are just pieces of bark with a little bit of the AK Interactive light earth material around them, and then just some wash on it. And then those tufts are from Gamers Graphs. And I'm not going to blow my own horn because I know I'm not the best painter. And I know there's a lot of work that still needs to be done in this thing to get it. But for a battle-ready figure, I am super pleased. And I got to give credit as well to my guy Commodore. Because even though there's still a bit of my Blanchy in parts of this, I actually took lead from him and tried to paint this a lot cleaner than my normal style. So I got to give credit to Commodore for being the inspiration for my style of painting with these guys. So very happy with them. Okay, Kirsch, he's got a nice list there. Okay, we had a Death Watch, 2 Salamanders, 2 Blood Angels, a Deathwing Dark Angels, Sisters, 2 Custodes, a Black Legion, 2,000 Suns, a set of Iron Warriors, a Death Guard, 2 Tau, a Necrons list. How can I forget about the Necrons? My buddy Greg Kirsch, one of my Patreons. I was actually his ride there. Yeah, that was a great time. The Tyranid GSC, the Crush Stampede, and a Drukhari list. I didn't see the Drukhari member until the very end of the night. I didn't even see his army. I was really upset by that. I'm really glad that Greg was able to make it. Greg's a good guy. He's been a patron now for like a year and a half. He's a great guy, fun to play with, fun to talk to, fun to hang out with. And I miss him terribly. I don't get to see him very often. So I was so glad to be able to bring him. And he didn't just bring Necrons. He had his freaking Necrons with the Silent King himself on the board. I mean, the guy goes to tournament and says, you know what? This is what I want to play. I'm going to play it. I don't care what's meta. I'm playing it. And he put the Silent King on the table. And I was just like, okay, that's cool. I love big, nasty figures. I love centerpiece, big, nasty figures. They may not be good in tournament play, but who cares? There's something great about somebody going, come get some. And so Greg is awesome. I love Greg. And just him just going out there and going, I'm gonna put the bad boy himself out there, and you gotta have to take him off the table. Because he still does work. Holy crap, he does work. So yeah, it was really great just seeing this massive mix of armies, a lot of which I haven't seen much of. And like the Black Legion and the Iron Warriors armies, I didn't get a chance to play against them. But man, they were weird. I mean, the Black Legion army, again, he had one of these because he had both Abaddon and a Lord of Skulls on the table. If you're not familiar with the Lord of Skulls, just take Thomas the Tank Engine, put guns on him, and make him the size of an Imperial Knight. There you go. That thing is just hi. I'm a walking fortress of guns and anger. It was so cool to see on the board. I was shocked too. I was shocked that with all the meta going on, there's no Grey Knights. There was only one Drukhari player, and that was a big thing. Kirsch it around the head there. I'm super glad we had this massive mix because you didn't just see, one side beating the other side down. It was real great to see. The biggest shock to me was the fact that there was no AdMech. I was hoping we'd get to see at least one AdMech army on the board there. That'd have been nice to see. So overall, what did I learn? I learned a lot about Tau straight off the bat. I mean, again, like I said, before this tournament, I only played 2.5 games, 2 full games and 1 round with Kirsch when he was teaching me about the very basics. I look the figures, I know what they do, but how they all work together and just how the new rules work together. We sat there going, all right, let's figure this out. And so we spent a 3-hour night at the game store just putting 2,000 points on the table and shooting each other and figuring out all the weird strats. So what did I learn? Okay, so one, I learned that even when they're not the best units, Tau units are still pretty freaking strong. Even when they're not optimized, they're still pretty freaking strong. Plasma rifles in the hands of Tau are probably personally my favorite weapon on crisis suits. Like a crisis suit with 2 plasma guns and something else is great. I wouldn't take more than 2 of any gun though. I can honestly say that freaking broadsides, again, the really big guys with the giant guns. Those are my MVPs. My gosh, they did so much work. 2 guys, 4 shots with their main guns, wiped units off the board left and right, plus throwing buckets of dice indirect at stuff was just a joy. So much fun to do. Ethereals are a must take. I realized that really quickly on that you really do need an ethereal. I mean, commanders are great and you want commanders, but you need an ethereal. If you're playing Tau, the go-to page Humbrol, Tommy Model Master, both laggers. Okay, so is this like for AK Interactive? Now when you talk about AK Interactive out, I'm specifically a must take, you freak. Unless of course you're playing Farside Enclaves, obviously. Now, Al, you are the modeling master, and I will tell you, I have never used their actual paints. I've only used their texture materials, and I've got some of their streaking grime that I want to use. So, what's the problem with AK Interactive? I really seriously like to know, because I've got 2 bottles of this stuff, and I'm about to use it on some models, and I don't want to do it if it's not something good. But for acrylics, I mean, for paints, Vallejo is, Vallejos are scattered all over my table. Actually, it's really funny. My 3 favorite paints, I use a ton of contrast. I love this stuff. I love Vallejo base paints, and I think I put it away. I think I was smart enough to put it away. What do you call it? Army Painters washes. Their quick shade washes are amazing. Humbrol, I haven't had a chance to use, but I know where I can pick some up. I've been told it's really great paint. So at your suggestion, I'm actually going to pick some up and try painting a couple figures of it. I'm not familiar with Mr. Paint, so I want to hear about that. Tamiya, I've never used the Tamiya. I mean, everybody I know talks about the Tamiya Clear, the Tamiya Red Clear, the Tamiya Blue Clear, and how those are really great paints. And I want to use them for a specific project, so I need to get some of those. But I wasn't. I haven't actually used their other paints. Model Master, I didn't realize they made an acrylic. Now I know Model Master. I use Model Master as my primer nowadays, for most of the time when I'm doing priming, and I. Okay, so I mean you're the man that comes to watering things down. So, and knowing how to use an airbrush. My God, if anybody ever wants to, I kind of need to get over to my brother's house and just have him airbrush some shit and record it, and then have him explain what he's doing. Because man, some of his stuff is stupid. If you guys haven't, I'll put some links out on the Discord afterwards to some of his best stuff again, because his stuff is amazing. I know I've actually sent stuff over to Frost and Fist, and they've actually put it up on their Art of the Week because this stuff is just so amazing. So I'll keep away from their paint then, because I hate thick, nasty paint. Oh, wait a minute. I have used Tamiya paints, because I did find the one other thing I love. Oh my God, this stuff is the best. The absolute best. Oh my God. all my lines were washed out on this thing. I went over this thing with a couple touches of the Tamiya line enhancer, and oh, that's a shame to hear. That is a shame to hear. But yeah, this stuff, because I'm going for a very segmented look, man, I want to say it's James Meeks. So since he doesn't come here anymore, I love my man Meeks, but he doesn't come visit me anymore. I think he's the one that actually sent me this, if I remember right. I think he sent me this in a care package. And this stuff is amazing. I don't think I could, after as much of it as I used, because I use it on virtually every model in this build. I don't think I'm ever going to use Known Oil for or Agrax Earthshade on models proper for doing recess shading ever again. This stuff is so good, and there's a brown version as well. They are so good. Humbrol red. All right. Send me a picture of that. Send me a link to that if you've got a picture of it, Al, on Facebook. I'll put something out on the channel about it, because I mean, God, I mean, guys, I can't tell you how much I love my brother's stuff. He's just such a talented hobbyist. I think all of us as hobbyists could really learn from these model guys and the crazy stuff they do. He gave me some tips on chipping. Yeah, dude, I gotta show you. I gotta show you how this stuff works. It's stupid. I mean, here, I'll show you. I'll grab a figure. Here we go. The humble. Oh, wow. Okay, the humble devilfish. Just white primer. Okay. Just going to do this area right here. Tap a little off. And I just touch it to a corner. Look at that line fill in. Just touched it. Look at that. Look at how that line just fills in. Look at the line below it. Okay. 2 dots. A dot in one corner, a dot in the other corner. That's just 2 dots. That's not even pulling it across or streaking it. That's just touching the dots. This stuff is magic. It is oil-based. I think if it's not, it's some type of spirit-based, because it's a little stinky. But, oh, I mean, seriously, 2 dots on each one of those. I mean, there's a little to clean up because I was just kind of heavy-handed on it. But, I mean, that's no work. I could take a white figure. Yeah, I can see why. And I just want to go through this tip, and then fill in my greens and my purples, and this thing is done. So, yeah, I cannot stress how good this is. And like I said, there's a brown version as well. So if you want something a little bit more grimy, or you're working in warm tones and you want to have like a warm line filler, the brown is really good for that. So there's that. I also want to give a shout out, as long as we're talking about things that we quickly painted and did some silly good line work with, I want to show this off again, because this, thank you, Al. I will show that off absolutely after the show and get that over to all my various peoples. This is literally a piece of plastic that was printed by my buddy, Mr. Kirschbaum. He got some wonderful STLs. This is the actual original size. He printed it at 200%. And then I just primed it through a gun on the side here to make it look like a smokestack, and then primed and painted it. That was it. Great little piece of terrain, stick on a board. So great stuff. So thank you again, Kirsch. I appreciate you, man. So yeah, let's go back to what I learned. Custodes. Holy crap. Custodes. If anybody has ever complained about another army, don't play Custodes. Or don't play against Custodes. It's on your hobby. I will share your Hobby Cave page if you don't mind then, because I want fellow people in my community to see this. Al, you did just such good work. You really do. As everybody can tell, I'm in a much better mood. I'll talk about why I was in a bad mood in a little bit. We'll get there. I was in a bad mood Sunday night and Monday morning. Oh yeah, it's just yeah, it's good stuff. Get a shot glass. I need to talk about it, because there's an interesting point that I want to make on it too. And I don't think it is what you think I'm talking about. So, Custodes are brutal. In a meta of seals, Custodes are a club. They are brutal to deal with. And there's really nothing you can do except try and shoot them before they kill you. And they're coming. They're coming. They're going to kill you. They're like, it's like an army of serial killers. They are coming to kill you. Or even better, if you've seen the famous line from Terminator, it will come and it will kill you. It does not stop. It will not stop. It doesn't get tired. It doesn't lose the scent. It will hunt you until you are dead. Oh my God. They are, they're like an army of serial killers. They're just, it was like Jason. Bang, 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 you're dead. Bang, bang, bang. You're dead now, right? I put my full output into another army 3 times, in just where I had complete run of an army with most of my army on the table 3 times over the last couple of weeks. One time I took off about 1,300 points. The other time I took off about 1,200 points. Another one I took out, and they're a very durable army. I did this too. I still took off about 900 or another 2,000 points. I opened up everything I freaking had into the Custodes on round 1. He went first. First off, to point out, he went first and took about 300 points of my stuff off the table before I even used it. And then when I returned volley, I think I took off like 100 points. I took off like a bike and a couple drones, and that was it. I was like, crap, these guys are tough. I managed to, in the second round, actually reduce, I think, a grand total of like 600 points Oh, hurricane bolters. Yes, hurricane bolters are bad against dudes. You should see what the bikes with salvo launchers do to crisis suits. Bang, you're dead. Bang, you're dead. Bang, you're dead. Bang, you're dead. And then when you try to fight back, you're not re-rolling. You can fight, but you're not getting any re-rolls. One of the things I learned about the Tau Army, and that fight actually taught me something about the Tau Army I had not realized how dependent they were. One of the strongest parts of the Tau is not just that their guns are really strong and they have a lot of AP. They have buckets of rerolls. They have rerolls for days. Commanders letting you reroll ones on attacks. Mon Ka letting you reroll ones on wounds. Having a built-in warlord trait that lets me reroll all my wounds and my attacks. Okay. I spend 1 CP. You're not. And since I'm in your face, since I'm the front guy, that shuts down my Mon Ka. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly it. Tau white people off tables. I think I killed like 500 points of his army, and I was utterly gutted. I was utterly gutted. We called it at the end of, I think we got through round 3, and I was just like, I don't have anything left to fight with. So we just called it there, and we scored points. I don't know if we even made it to 3. I think we got through his half of 3, and I was like, okay, I think we can call it here, because I was so gutted after his attacks that I had nothing left on the table. They've got huge invulnerables. They have the abilities to take out your rerolls. And their units are so freaking durable. Oh, and let's not forget that they can put transhuman. So I don't care how strong your gun is, you're still not getting better than a 4 to wound. No better than a 4 to wound, which is a 50-50 shot to begin with. And we're going to take away your ones to reroll. Good luck. It's a crapshoot. Can't reroll hits. Can't reroll wounds. If all my markers are done, I'm basically playing 50-50 math just to do it. And then he's got a 50-50 chance of knocking it away. So yeah, that was it was something. I think I've got a better handle on how to fight them now that I've got a different list idea on how to handle them. And a lot of it involves not actually trying to engage them, but trying to force them to choose an engagement point and then move away from that and take them on someplace else. Tower, incredibly mobile. Again, another thing that a lot of people, I guess, know, but don't really realize what I mean when I say that they're incredibly mobile. Everybody is just flying all over the board. I mean, I can swarm from one side of the board to the next without a problem. And that's an incredibly powerful thing to be able to do. The poor Marines I faced in the second round, he tried to hold back. I took my front edge. I took the half of the board. And then when he tried to move forward, I jumped behind him and killed everything in the back and then pinchered him between the front and the back. And that was when he realized the game was over. And there was nothing he could do about it because I'd picked off anything that had significant damage, and the things he had in the back, I just absolutely eradicated them. So they have an incredible ability to just move, drop in, kill, and then get out of dodge. To the last is a really good one for them because they can, you're down to my last guy in this unit. I'm going to run the unit away. La, 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 la. And I don't worry about you getting most of the unit dead. As long as the one guy gets away, it's fine. So there was that. The other thing I learned the other way about just general gameplay. 95% of any players that you're playing with if they're coming to something with the foreknowledge that, yes, the tournament, we're expecting tournament level play, but we're here for fun, 95% of the people that come in are there. They might bring a killer list, but they're going to be there for fun. And if they know that this is a fun event, we're going to be silly and fun and make this a party-like atmosphere, they're going to come. The good players and then good people are going to come to those kind of events. And that was the beautiful thing about that tournament. I saw people getting absolutely destroyed and laughing their asses off about it. And that was probably one of the best things I saw. I saw somebody that at the last RTT came in second place. My buddy Ben came in second place in the last tournament. He got raffle stomped in the first round, never recovered, and didn't care. He was just like, all right, whatever, la-di-da-di-da. All right, fine, I'm losing. And he just like, whatever, fine. And that was really good to see. The fact that people were talking to each other in between rounds. They weren't just, okay, we got how many minutes between rounds? And just boom and disappear. The fact that people sat and talked and chilled and gave advice and talked about things they could do better. And there was a lot of back and forth on that. For most of that tournament was amazing and a lot of fun. And I like that this group here in Milwaukee has put together part of that culture. I'm glad to be part of the organizers or organization committee or whatever you want to call it. I'm glad to be part of the people that are trying to foment that attitude. I've made it very clear when I do my Thursday night Escalation League that it's not about crushing your opponent. It's about learning your rules, understanding your game, and having fun with it. Play what you want and have fun with it. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Commodore brings, somebody there had a horrible weekend. They won nothing. They scored very little. I know one of their games they scored 7 points. 7. 7 points. But they were all laughs and giggles and smiles all day long. It was a really part of a gaming group called Baby Men. He was that whole team. I was joshing around with them later that night, and they were all, none of them were having a good day, and they were all just laughing about it and having a great time with it. And the guy that came in absolutely last place, you got an award. Hey, it's a jam bolter. And the man just misfired. It was obviously the dice's fault. So as his last place reward, he was given a brand new set of dice because obviously his old ones were broken. And I thought that was a really great touch by the store owner and by the committee. I didn't even know about that thing. We're going to do that. So again, real big props to both Kirsch and anyone involved with that decision making. Commodore probably had something to do with it because, I mean, if anybody knows about losing, it's Commodore. So, gotta get one more in there. So, yeah, I mean, it was a really good time to see that kind of community building. And that's the thing it really was a community building for a tournament. It's a community building tournament, a community building event. And we're going to be having 10 more of these before the big GT at the end of the year. And I'm just so excited. So if you're anywhere in the near Midwest, if you're anywhere in the greater Wisconsin, northern Illinois, northwestern Indiana, Minneapolis, if you're anywhere in the area and you want to just come down for a fun one-day tournament, If you want to come in for a 1 day tournament, you know, keep an eye on Factlandia Gaming and get signed up for one of these events because man, we would love to have you, and I think it'd just be great. I'm trying to convince Mythos and Freak to get like a work reason to come up to town so that we can get some games going up here, or worst comes to worst, if my company has some big event down in Texas, uh, now that I found out we have a office in Houston, I think it's in Houston. It's either in Houston or in Austin. I don't remember. It's an in town, but it's either in Houston or Austin. Now that I found out we have an office there, I got to come up with an excuse to have something IT go on down there so I can run down there and maybe spend a weekend with my brothers over at the Frost and Fist and throw some dice. And since I probably won't be able to bring an army, I'll borrow one of their armies and play it. We'll have a good time. I'll just use his Space Wolves and proxy them as Tau. So yeah, it's just really good. Now, I want a quick thing here. I am frustrated. I'm angry. I'm mad and I'm upset and I'm over it. But I love this city. I love the city that I live in. If you're not aware, there is an epidemic going on in this city. Oh, I'm just gonna get someone there to move my figures for me. Uh, so here's the thing. There's an epidemic going on in the city right now where Kias and Hyundais of a certain model year and certain models are getting stolen. Unfortunately, these models and the years involved are some of the most popular models of these two car types. I do not have a car that is one of these types. But car thieves are not the smartest. So I got a window smashed. I got my steering column destroyed. And my car is currently in the shop being freaking repaired because these idiot Kia boys saw the Kia tag on the back and decided to try and steal my car. I had cleared everything out of my car after the tournament. So there's a couple of things in the back, but nothing like notebooks and stuff. So nothing that was valuable. All the figures were out of the car. Everything was out of the car. They didn't actually steal the car. Yeah. They didn't actually steal the car, which I think is good, but at the same time, are you kidding me? Because they utterly smashed the rear passenger window, and my driving column. And luckily, I have really great insurance, so I've got a rental for free while my car is in the shop. I got comped the rental for free for the entire time my car is in the shop. And the problem is that because it is a Kia, sometimes it can be hard to get some of the parts. So I may be in this rental for a couple of weeks, the mechanic mentioned. So I'm not real happy because I'll be honest, I like my Kia a lot. I like my car. And it's a rental, fine. It gets me from work to back. That's all I care about. But at the same time, when you get your personal space violated like that, you kind of like, so I was upset about it. I'm fine now. I'm over it. I was more angry. Oh my God. Yesterday I was breathing fire like a dragon would when I found my car in the morning, how badly it was smashed up. It was upsetting. So in the end, it'll be $500 out of pocket, which, I mean, you don't want to have to spend $500, but the alternative. So I'll have it for a couple weeks. So I just got to know that when I park the Kia from now on, I got to put the Dodge van behind it and park it in so they don't even try. Because my garage is too small to actually put a car inside of, because it's technically like more of a shack. It's weird. My garage is ancient, so I mean, it's a buggy. It's actually a buggy barn. So it was made for putting a buggy in, and oh man, that's really sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, Mythos. That sucks. I'm like I said, I'm thankful I didn't actually lose anything other than just losing my car for a couple of weeks. Um, I didn't lose any stuff. I got everything brought in. My army was already in the house. The box half I just bought of the new Elf Chaos box that I bought the Chaos half off a buddy of mine. That was all in the house, all sitting on the table behind me. So it's all good. I just brought in all of the pieces that were in the car. So I didn't lose anything. I just don't understand people anymore. There are just times I'm like, what? And these are 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids doing this, stealing these cars, running them around, and then crashing them. And then, they don't care. It's become an epidemic in the city. Kia thefts are up something like 400% over the last year and a half. So it sucks. Sucks a lot. I'm not going to go into the whole social implications of it because that's not what this channel is about. But I just want to make sure people that know I didn't lose anything Warhammer related in the car break-in. I just lose my car for a couple of weeks, which sucks. All right. So what else is going on? Well, World of Warhammer. This weekend, all the Eldar stuff goes on pre-order, and some things are even kind of not expected going on pre-order. Before you could only get the Triumvirate of the Inari in a single box set, which had all 3 members in the box set. They are finally releasing each of the 3 figures individually, which works out really well because Lady D was working on a Yvraine, who's the female leader of the Inari, because again, her army is Inari. She was working on the female leader, and the head got dropped and it busted off, and some feathers busted off, and she's got a really fiddly headpiece, and we had to glue it back together, and it just became a mess. So she was like, Chuck, I got to replace this thing. And I was honestly going to look at seeing if I could get a 3D version of it and print a 3D version of Yvraine, or potentially check out a recaster site and see if I can grab one there, because you couldn't get it any other way, and I wasn't going to buy an entire box for one little figure. Well, she's being released individually, so we're going to get Lady D a replacement for her Yvraine, and she'll be happy. But the Eldar book is coming out, and it is actually the same size as the Space Marines Codex. It's massive. It's going to have all the stuff from the Eldar in it, all the stuff from the Corsairs, plus Ynnari rules in a codex for the first time, and the Harlequins will be included in the Craft Worlds book. So the Harlequins, you'll be able to run them as their own chapter or their own army now, but I don't think they're going to get they're obviously not getting their own codex. They're just going to be part of a very large Eldar codex. And since they made the point in the rules about the Harlequins and their new detachment rules, I mean, that's okay. I know people that run Harlequins on their own, Max. I guess I'm old school. I always felt they were a kind of army that wasn't supposed to be an army. They were supposed to be a piece that gets put into an elven army. So seeing them kind of returning to those roots, I feel is a good thing. Both Lady D and I are going to be doing Eldar at some point. I'm probably not. I was going to do them all hot and heavy. I was really hot and heavy earlier, the idea for them. And then I got my Tau, and vroom, vroom, I like Blue Alien Goatfish. So I'm sticking with my Tau for now. I think when I do my Eldar, it'll probably be a year from now. And then probably not right away because I got Necrons to do, and I really want to get to my Necrons eventually. Once I'm done with all of my Tau, I will then begin on my Necrons. That's my goal. So Eldar coming out in 2 weeks. The word is that Tyranids are going to go on pre-sale a couple weeks after that. I've heard that also leads to the idea that Imperial Guard are coming out earlier rather than later, probably in April or early May. And then we're going to see the Summer of Chaos hit us probably right, the Summer of Chaos probably start right at the end of May or beginning of June. And supposedly that's going to be Chaos Marines, Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights, Chaos Demons, everything. And lots of rumors still abound. I've seen some spoilers. Lots of rumors abound, but I think we're getting another Daemon Primarch in Angron, Lord of the World Eaters. I know some people aren't really happy about that. I personally don't give a crap. Honestly, only because Chaos has been so bad for so long on a whole. Give them something to look forward to. Give them something to play with. Make them okay. They were so bad for so long. They have been so bad. Putting them at the end of the release cycle or near the end. People are angry about Angron. I can point at one of them right above you there. Boo! Because I know he's like, we need another loyalist Primarch. And I kind of agree with him. But, I mean, you know, Marines aren't in a great place right now either. So, but they do have they're getting them. I'll be honest. I honestly believe, Mythos, and I'm being honest. I'm being honest with you, Mythos. I honestly believe we are going to get all 4 Demon Primarchs before we get another Loyalist Primarch. I think we're going to get... I think we're going to literally have all 4 Demon Primarchs back out of the warp and into on the table before we get another Loyalist Primarch. Here's the thing I can tell you for certain, Hellchild. The World Eaters are not in the Chaos Marines Codex proper. All the other Chaos Marines are in there, including Creations of Bile. But for whatever reason, the World Eaters are not. Today on the Rumor Engine, they just showed a pair of wings, or at least a part of a wing, that is most definitely a demonic wing. And the rumors of Angron flying around have been flying around for like a year now. So, I know I was hoping for my guy from the Emperor's Children. Thank you, Lady D. I was hoping for Fulgrim because I like the Emperor's Children paint scheme personally better. Because it's purple and it's your favorite color. You're right. It's pink and purple. A couple of my favorite colors. So, yes. But World Eaters are not. It could be Age of Sigmar. You are right, G. It could be. I'm fairly certain saying run. I'm. What unit are they going to have besides Berserkers? They're going to have Angron. They're going to have Berserkers. And a lot of people think that they're going to get a new chapter specific. Yeah. I think they're going to get another chapter specific unit. The big thing is that they're going to codicize having Berserkers as troops for the World Eaters instead of it just being a note in their list. Like I said, the big thing is that there's some rumor that eventually they're going to do with the Chaos Marines what they've done with the regular Marines, and every single one of them is going to get their own little special mini codex to go with it. Yeah, I mean, they could do special cultists. There's a couple things they could do. I mean, remember, as World Eaters, you can take Berserkers as a troop. You can also take regular Marines as a troop. So you still have the regular base troops there. It's just that the single best melee base unit in the game, I mean, as far as I can tell, I mean, they're just stupidly how good they are in combat. What troop gets the ability to do a fight twice? So there's a reason that they're tied to Khorne, though. You can't take them in a Emperor's Children list because Emperor's Children have to be Slaanesh. You give them the ability to automatically always fight first, and they get to fight twice. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Everything I've seen so far, it really make me think that I am going to be finally kicking off that Creations of Bile army. So we'll see. I mean, that's down the road. I mean, the big thing is right now, Eldar coming out, and there's so much good stuff for them. My goodness, they're getting so much good stuff. New rules look great. And then supposedly Tyranids are right around the corner. Although I don't get it why they're doing Tyranids next. I really think they should be doing the Guard next. But, I mean, between the Guard and the Tyranids and Chaos and everything else, book releases have been piling up. It is great to see that they're finally like, okay, let's get this stuff out there. When you realize that this summer is 2 years, is the 2-year mark of 9th edition. Eighth edition lasted for 3 years. 7th edition was around for about 3.5 years. If they're following suit, which would be really upsetting, they may be setting up Chaos as, Angron coming back and that being the new push, and the storyline being, I don't know. There's so many what ifs there, especially now that they've said that they're going to be doing the chapter approved every 6 months, and basically every 6 months it'll be a new season with new missions, and the old missions go away and the new missions. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. We're literally talking about this August. It will be this August, which is what, 5 months away, 4 months away, 5 months away. I agree with you, Kirsch. I honestly agree with you. I honestly think that this edition can stick around for a bit. I think if they just do updates every 6 months with a chapter approved, do an FAQ every 3 months or a data slate every 3 months, and then, every 2.5 years, you get a replacement or updated, you know, you get an updated, replaced codex. Like your codex lasts for 3 years, and then you get a new codex, or something like that, so that we start getting new codexes back in the rotation. You can play them whenever you want. Yes, you can play them with your friends. Unfortunately, as far as I know, again, when I speak in competitive terms. Um, Competitive terms, you're going to get 6 months of this mission set, and then you get the new thing. This could be the D&D 5e of Warhammer if they wanted to. This could be an edition that lasts more accurate. This could very easily be second edition. Yeah, yeah, I'm with you there, Mythos. I mean, I got my guard book. Now, some that know me know I actually do really love the guard. I painted my guard to look like my army, my unit from when I was in the army. Try to make it look like, old fashioned 70s, 80s NATO era woodland camouflage. And we got in Psychic Awakening, there was a new Army of Renown list that came out in that edition. And the problem was, like, right after that book dropped, like, literally, that book dropped and COVID hit like 3 weeks later. The beginning of the lockdowns began about 3 weeks later. And so I had this really great list, this 8th edition list of how I wanted to play an army list. It had tanks and then infantry to do other stuff. And it was this really great combined arms, artillery, tanks, and dudes list that was wonderful. And I never got to play it even once. I was so upset. I was so mad because they released 9th edition, and the thing you needed to run that army list was a Supreme Command detachment that you could stick 3 tank commanders and the Cadian named tank commander into. Yeah. Touch of the Wild. Yeah. That was tough. But you had to have that Supreme Command attachment to use 3 tank commanders and Knight Commander Pask in an attachment together. And when 9th edition released, they went, oh, that detachment no longer exists. I was like, tell me you did not just do that to me. So I was like, oh, it killed me. I so wanted to play this tank list. They're just going to be, tanks on artillery and dudes running around and being crazy. Yeah. The Warzone supplement, when they finally released, you can play the 8. I mean, the 8 are technically not illegal. It's just like, come on. This is like part of the lore. This is key parts of the lore. And it's like the times that it's been legal to play have been like these minuscule moments in time that got killed by COVID. So give us 5 more years of 9th at least, and let us just get all the armies out and going. I gotta say, Mythos, there were some things about 8th that I really did enjoy. I really like 9th. I will be honest. You could, but you'd have to have 4 detachments. The thing that gets me about ninth, I actually like the bigger board. I know it's not that much bigger, but in the grand scheme of things, I like the bigger board. So playing it on a 6x4 rather than a 5x3 3 3/4. I mean, it doesn't seem like that big a difference, but that foot going one direction, it is a big difference. I like the terrain rules in ninth much better than I did in eighth. And anybody who says, well, we didn't have problems with X in eighth, but look at ninth, it's so broken. And eighth had its own broken adventures. I mean, honestly, Mythos is still, I can just hold up 3 Riptides at him and watch him curl up into a fetal position under his desk. I'd be interested to see that, Kirsch. It'd be, it's one of those things that there was a period of time for like 9 months where knights ruled the game. You put down a loyal 32, maybe 2 loyal 32s, and filled the rest with knights, and those were clearing tables and winning tournaments all over the place. The Tau were absolutely unbeatable in that game because they could just overwatch for days. They could hit on 5s on Overwatch. You couldn't melee in that game for a damn thing. Everybody was getting shot off the table. Eighth had problems. I liked eighth. Eighth had problems. Ninth has problems. I like ninth. I don't think we've come across a perfect edition yet. And I don't think we ever will, to be blunt. I don't think we will ever get to a perfect edition. And the reason we won't is because if they ever got everything perfectly balanced, I'm telling you this now, if they ever get to a point where every army is perfectly balanced and everything is perfectly even, watch the GW site, because I'm telling you, within 3 days of that happening, we are going to get a new edition coming. It's just the way it works in their world. Because if everything is balanced and everything is fine and everything is even, then no army is selling off the table like hotcakes. As much as I hate to admit it, and as much as I hate to say it, the reality is that above and beyond anything else, Games Workshop is a company that sells models. They happen to have a really cool game that goes with those models, but they're there to sell models and supplements and books and paints and tools and the stuff for the hobby. The fact that it's playable is an excuse to sell all this stuff in the first place. So having rules for the coolest looking model is great. Having balanced rules is not in their best interests. So just as the boy shows up, we're going to wrap up for the night.
I just wanted to say hi.
Well, hello. Hello. So we're going to give a big shout out to our Patreon members. We're going to start off with Minnie Warmutt, Greg Tesh, Inquisitor Zane, James Brown, Mithros Kush Renata. I don't have the list with me. My brain. Why is my brain not working?
Listen, it wasn't my night, Commodore.
That's right.
I would have been here.
And lastly, if nothing else, if I forgot your name, please don't hate me. But we have the lovely Phoenix and the Commodore. I want to thank all of you so much for coming by with me tonight. I will be doing a review this coming Sunday of issue number 2 of Imperium magazine. I can tell you, if you're thinking about it, the reality with Imperium magazine, if you want all the models, or you're a big time kit basher, or you're just want a lot of Marines and a lot of Necrons, it is the way to go. If you want all the armies, it is the way to go and take the premier version. If you're not a Marine player and you're not a Necron player and you have no interest in those 2 specific armies, I'm being honest with you, don't waste your money. You're primarily getting Marines and Necrons. You're getting other stuff, but Marines and Necrons are the number 1, number 2 things you're getting in this thing. First 3 months are a lot cheaper. There's a lot less stuff in them. Starting with issue 4, you start getting there $15 an issue or so, and you start getting a lot of stuff in those issues. So it's about a 50% discount, and you don't have any control over the order you get them in. So you got to think about what you want. I'm going to get them. I'm going to review them, and I'm going to let you guys see what you see. And the ones I use. The ones I don't, I'm going to give to Lady D to let her use her salamanders, and anything else left over, going in the chip box to use for parts. Always can use more pieces, parts, and nice bits. Plus, I'm getting a big bunch of chaos stuff. And the Agents of Bile can certainly use more followers. So that being said, I'm Big D.
Little D.
And even though he's been absent, he is Little D. We are the Gamecraft Dragons.
Not much, bud.
And game on.
Game on.